Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, still on vacation, so that explains the lighting. Um, Anyways, this weekend was the actual public release of Guardians of the Galaxy. And even though I did a review last week when I saw a sneak preview, I decided to do another review where I can talk about some spoilers and mention some stuff. So if you don't want anything spoiled, do not watch this video. Go check out the link. Go check out my other one, which I didn't really get into anything. So if you want a spoiler-free review, I'll put an annotation or a link to that video so you can check that out. But in this video, I will be talking about spoilers. So if you don't want anything spoiled, again, fair warning. Okay. Right. So Guardians of the Galaxy. This is pretty much one of the first Marvel movies that's kind of breaking away from the standard superhero formula, because the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're characters that I think are probably well known among comic book fans, but not really to the general public, because some people in the general public know about Iron Man and Captain America, but these characters are really more, and that's not to say that the comic book didn't sell well. I remember that the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning run was very positively received. So obviously Marvel knew that if they wanted to do something different for Phase 2, they obviously made the right choice. But yeah, what I liked about the movie is that the story the storyline and the atmosphere kind of felt a lot like Joss Whedon's Firefly and Serenity. It had that same sort of element to it, mostly because all our main characters are basically criminals. Obviously, Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, he's a thief. He works for the Ravengers, which are run by Yondu, and also we have Rocket Raccoon and Groot, who are basically bounty hunters, and basically the premise behind the story is that there's these 5 criminals that sort of meet together in prison, and they sort of come together to break out, and then to deal with the crisis of the orb that Quill stole, which is something that Thanos wants through Ronan, and basically they decide, okay, we have to take care of this orb to save the galaxy, because at first, mainly because the reason stated by Peter Quill is that they basically live in the galaxy, so obviously they need to save it. And I have to admit, Star-Lord, in this movie, Star-Lord was definitely my favorite character, because he's funny, and he's funny, but also very serious at times when he needs to be a leader for the team. And he's very much your standard space captain protagonist, like Han Solo and Captain Malcolm Reynolds. He exhibits those same qualities, where at first he's like this sort of like guy who only thinks of himself, but when the chips are down, he'll basically turn to like a big, bold leader and do the right thing. And yeah, Chris Pratt, I wasn't really that skeptical about him, but from what I saw in the trailers, he was very good, and after seeing the movie, they made the right decision, and he obviously was committed to the role. I mean, if you've seen him in Parks and Rec before, in the first couple of seasons of Parks and Rec, you can tell that he really worked out to get this role, and I don't blame him. Okay, I think anyone who would be offered a role in the Marvel movie nowadays is definitely going to go through a lot of hard work to get into physical shape to best portray that role. I mean, not just Chris Pratt, but also Karen Gillan. She actually shaped her head to play Nebula. And speaking of which, the villain in this movie really is Ronan rather than Thanos. I mean, yeah, Thanos was teased, but Thanos was basically sort of originally Ronan was working for Thanos, because Ronan was going to try to retrieve the orb to get Thanos in exchange for Thanos destroying Xandar. But when Ronan gets the orb and discovers that why Thanos wants it, he realizes he now has the power to just destroy Xandar himself, and basically he cuts Thanos out. And Nebula decides to align herself with Ronan, mainly because she's mostly cybernetic now, and she's obviously going to go with the person who has the most power. Interesting enough, though, I'm pretty sure this is different from normal Marvel canon, but Nebula and Gamora are portrayed as the adopted daughters of Thanos, and they were raised as sort of like foster sisters, but more in a competitive environment. You can find out more about their relationship in the Guardians of the Galaxy prequel series, but that was a very interesting aspect that they did. But I think the Guardians of the Galaxy, the team themselves, has gone through multiple incarnations in the comics too, so it makes sense that. So I think it's good that they kind of adapted it in a more cohesive manner, so that it's more accepted by audiences who see the movie. Another thing that was, and speaking of Thanos, we actually get a full view of Thanos in this movie, like a straight up full appearance. He makes his full appearance when Ronan goes to talk to him on the little asteroid that we saw him in Avengers. And also we do get to see his sort of right-hand man, the other, who also appeared at the end of the Avengers. We finally got our first full appearance of Thanos, and he looks good. I'm not gonna lie, he looks good. It's only one scene, but finally we got our full view of Thanos, and I think fans will definitely be happy with it. After that, though, Thanos only makes a couple more appearances in just a video call with Ronan that's sort of reminiscent of Darth Vader calling the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back. Also, with Thanos, we also got confirmation that the Infinity Stones, that there are more Infinity Stones. Of course, we already knew that from the post-credits scene in Thor. We know that the Aether was one of them. We know that the Tesseract is the other, and apparently the Tesseract is the Space Stone. In this movie, though, everyone who said the orb was going to be an Infinity Stone was right. And basically, the orb itself isn't an Infinity Stone. It actually has an Infinity Stone inside it. So, and that stone was purple, and it was the Power Stone. And also, this movie did give us a great look at the other parts of the Marvel Universe, such as the Nova Corps and Xandar, and also the Celestial Head, that was turned into sort of a space station known as Nowhere. That is also a reference to the 2008 Guardians series, which sort of gave us this version of the team, written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. And also, there is an appearance by Cosmo the Space Dog, which I enjoyed a lot. I liked seeing Cosmo. It was brief, though. It was just like a, hey, look, it's Cosmo, yay! So, yeah, this movie does. So, if you did read the 2008 Guardians of the Galaxy series, you'll understand some of the references. And if you haven't, well, good news is that they are reprinting it in sort of an ultimate collection series of paperbacks, which is good because you cannot find the original paperbacks anywhere. Believe me, I've tried. Also the cast of the movie. The cast, like I said, Chris Pratt is Star-Lord, my favorite character, obviously. Zoe Saladar, okay, I hope I'm saying her name right, Saladara as Gamora. She was good. She was very good. Obviously, she was also she also played the female lead in Avatar. So a lot of those fighting moves did obviously help her, since she's playing Gamora, the most dangerous woman in the galaxy. I thought she was very good in her role. Gamora is basically the serious one on the team. She's taking it seriously. Mostly, she's trying to avoid the destruction of the galaxy, and she even states that the whole reason she took the job with Ronan is so that she could betray Thanos. So, Gamora, the most dangerous woman in the galaxy, who does have a heart of gold. Like, I'm not going to say it's all gold. I mean, she's very vicious with her enemies, but nevertheless, she does care about people. Also, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. He was hilarious. He was smart mouth, wisecrack, and he is not afraid to say what's on his mind. He was if not for even though Star-Lord was mostly funny and serious, I would say most of the comedy did come from Rocket Raccoon and Groot, and Cooper's portrayal of Rocket was very spot on. I thought that was I thought that was definitely, they did a good job with showing Rocket. He's very dangerous, and you do not want to be on his bad side. And speaking of and like I said, the other notable member of the team is Groot. Groot is voiced by Vin Diesel. He's mostly like Rocket, he's CGI, and all he ever says is, "I am Groot." But Vin Diesel actually had to record the line multiple times because it's not just a straight "I am Groot." It's basically, he has to be able to convey the emotion of the scene necessary, like whenever Groot feels sad or worried about the other Guardians, or when he has to convey, like, they need to tell Rocket that they need to go and rescue Star-Lord and Gamora from the Ravengers. So yeah, and also he did record it in, I believe he also recorded in other languages for the international adaptations of the film. Next up, Drax the Destroyer, played by Dave Bautista. Drax, well, he's the Destroyer, and he's big. He's basically the muscle of the team. Well, actually, I think the whole muscle aspect is probably shared by Drax and Groot, but, well, he's a man of, I don't want to say few words because, like Rocket stated, his people are very literal. Metaphors go over his head. But Drax, I really didn't have a problem with. I thought he was definitely, even though he does sound like he has one of the most interesting backstories of the Guardians, which was that his wife and daughter were killed by Ronan, so he wants revenge. And his rage does cause some setbacks in the team, which you will see in the movie when he decides to put his revenge for Ronan above protecting the orb, which would protect the galaxy. So yeah, definitely the story had a lot of good elements to it. Expanded more on the Marvel Universe, but aside from the story and the characters, another thing that I enjoyed about the movie was the soundtrack. And soundtrack, I'm of course referring to Star-Lord's mixtape that he keeps in his Walkman, which James Gunn, the writer and director, stated is Peter Quill's only tie to Earth. And it is important to him because on Peter Quill's last day of Earth, he was a young boy and his mother just died. And the mixtape is important to him because it's something she made so that he would be able to hear the music, the good music that she grew up with. And shortly after she dies, Peter kind of freaks out and leaves the hospital. And when he does, he gets picked up by Yondu and the Ravengers, and which at the end of the movie we learned that they were actually hired by Peter Quill's dad to take him from Earth. And by the way, we never actually see Star-Lord's dad at all. So just giving you a heads up about that. But yeah, the mixtape is really great. The songs on it are used in the movie quite a bit for several scenes. It's actually available on its own soundtrack that you can go purchase at Best Buy or Amazon. I actually have it, and it is really enjoyable. Some of the music on the mixtape really does help make the movie memorable, such as in the opening credits when Star-Lord arrives in the abandoned temple to first get the orb. He pretty much puts his he's scans the area, then he puts on his headphones and just listens to "Come and Get Your Love" by Redbone. And also when he's retrieving his Walkman as he's leaving, when he and the Guardians try to escape the prison, the Pina Colada song is playing as he goes and gets his Walkman and heads back to the ship in time. And also when the Guardians leave Xandar, Star-Lord plays his mixtape. Actually, this is part of another mixtape that his mom gave him on his birthday. Yeah, also his mom died on his birthday. That is very sad. He puts the new mixtape in, and there's "Ain't No Mountain High Enough," and right as he plays that, that's when the Guardians leave Xandar off for their next great adventure. And funny thing happened to me after I saw the movie. I went to the movie with my sister, and after the movie ended and we stayed through all the credits, and we left the theater, we got in the car. I decided to put in the Guardians soundtrack, and I had my CD player in my car on random, which kind of shuffles everything up. The song that they actually played was "Ain't No Mountain High Enough," and I thought that was hilarious. And right when it played, and I listened to it for a bit, I was backing out. I actually quoted a line from the movie. I said, "So what do you want to do next? Something good, something bad, a little bit of both," which is what Star-Lord says to the team right as they're about to leave. So yeah, that was really fun. This movie is definitely enjoyable. It's definitely one of the best summer blockbusters of this summer. Overall, it's different from, like I said, it's different from Marvel's usual superhero formula, and that's good. That's good. It's good to have some variety in these movies. I mean, obviously we're going to be having Ant-Man soon, and also Doctor Strange, which I think will probably be more supernatural than superhero. So hopefully it can be just as good as this one. Also, the visual effects and creating characters such as Rocket and Groot was very amazing. They definitely brought those characters to life, thanks to the editing technology, thanks to all the special effects that we have available today. And again, the soundtrack really helped sell most of the scenes and made them memorable. And if you can see this movie, I do recommend that if possible, see this movie in 3D. It's not a requirement, but both times that I've seen this movie, I've seen it in 3D, and that is the most you can get out of this experience, is if you see it in 3D. Okay, well, thanks again for watching my video. Overall, by the way, in case you're wondering where Guardians of the Galaxy ranks on my list of Marvel movies, it is third, basically right behind Captain America 2 and The Avengers. Again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for checking out my channel. Check out any of my other reviews of some other Marvel movies. Again, I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.